was just on overload once again. It's going to be a shame when the NBA, which is now down to their two teams, the Stanley Cup final, which to my knowledge is still going on. You can actually bet on a hockey game for one more time tonight. And on top of that, you'll have slowly creeping in people paying attention to that fourth or fifth sport, whatever it may be. If it's Major League Baseball, if it's English Premier League, whatever it is, where people will start to pay attention to some other things. But it is amazing. The world just stopped. On Saturday, even in an area where I am, and I constantly talk about it for reference and framework of where my mind is. But I thought to myself that this would be a Saturday that would not be looked upon or anticipated in the Northeast, for example, as this humongous return of football. And man, was I wrong. And look, I don't have any numbers or anything like that in front of me. I just go by the day-to-day. I go by people I talk to. I go by people I interact with. And it might not be as many face-to-face as it used to be, but there are still a ton of ways in which I can connect with people locally here about sports topics. And it's not all about, well, the Philadelphia Eagles play the Bengals. I couldn't believe it as you started to see the spillover, because you know that in Tennessee, Alabama, Florida, Georgia, that those states are going to be bubbling over with energy and excitement to the point in which college football really felt like it was back. That really was the biggest Saturday. College football really felt for the first time like it was back. And then yesterday was capped off by a ridiculous performance by Aaron Rodgers, who's just trying to outdo Russell Wilson every single time out there. It's amazing.
Hi, this is Jay Farner, CEO of Rocket Mortgage. Making the right financial decisions has never been more important. We can help guide you to those right decisions now when they matter most. Mortgage rates are near historic lows, so when you call 8338-ROCKET or visit us at rocketmortgage.com to start your refinance, you'll be well on your way to saving money every month. The rate today on our 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 3.375%, APR 3.59%. Right now could be a great time for you to take some positive financial steps forward with a cash-out refinance from Rocket Mortgage, which could give you the boost that you're looking for. In addition, we may be able to help you refinance with little or no out-of-pocket costs. At Rocket Mortgage, we're committed to every client, every time, no exceptions, no excuses, giving you the best mortgage experience. Call us today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Rates subject to change. Pay 1.875% fee to receive this discounted rate. Call for cost information and conditions.
So anything else go on with besides the whole damn building cooking over?
Or when you talk to a Dell Technologies advisor, you get
that's the only thing.
Sure. Who's able to hear more than what's being said and can provide tailored small business solutions that make you feel truly heard.
I understand. Let's get started.
For advice on everything from laptops to the cloud and solutions powered by Intel vPro platform, call an advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL.
This is time that matters. A window of time to help protect the ones you love. Your
it wasn't the computer,
benefits
just
from
the
staying up to date with their well visits. This is your window of protection. Schedule their.
What's that?
It wasn't like the computer where you had to rebuild everything.
No, just AC. I mean, it's the entire building. I walked in. I entered from the second floor, and as soon as you walked in, you were just smacked with how hot it was.
Oh, one moment can change a lifetime.
Here's Howie Long for Skechers Arch Fit Shoes. If you've never tried Arch Fit shoes from Skechers, you're missing out on next level comfort. Saying you like comfort but not trying Arch Fit is like saying you like Italian food but you've never tried pasta. Skechers teamed up with podiatrists who used over 20 years of data to create a shoe that provides total foot and arch support for all-day comfort. Arch Fit distributes support across the arch no matter what foot type you have. You don't need an arch problem to love how they feel. See all the styles of machine washable Arch Fit shoes now at Skechers.com.
School.
You could be like, Jake, are you going to go hard at your team
from anywhere.
Notebooks to sanitizer,
I mean,
laptops to project boards.
What?
And all at amazing
Here's the thing.
prices.
What's left
this week,
for
10 packs of Crayola fine tip markers and Staples
like what's left to go after with the
12-pack
Jets?
markers and 12-pack
Fire the head
pencils with
coach,
sharpener at
right?
just 97 cents.
Sell the team.
Shop in
I mean,
store, pick
what's
up
left?
curbside or order online.
School on, save on.
I'm saying, are you going to go hard at your team?
No, I know, but I'm just saying,
In
as
store,
far
and
as
it's very-
I mean, yeah,
Jake
you gotta
was
fire
concerned.
Gates. Jake makes the point though that it's a short week, so he expects Gates to be fired on Friday. He also expected Dan Quinn to be fired today.
Mask. Order now at
before the end of his show.
Radio for 20% off. Scratching beneath the surface. It's the second level on the SportsMap Radio Network.
Presented by Rocket Mortgage.
From the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios, here's Eitan Shander.
Well, we had a ton of things go on. We'll have to circle back at some point this hour to Saturday. And I guess we'll try and squeeze it. Like, here's the problem that I have. And I'm just going to completely derail for just a minute here and indulge me. And Ron Culver's in the house. So I need to ask you, normally.
Are you blaming this on me?
No. I'm not blaming this on you, but
I
you
just wanna
do
make sure.
share. You do share responsibility here.
I'm just you can blame things on me if you want to.
I know I can. Trust me. And usually I do.
Yeah, I might edit it after the show, edit it out, but you can go ahead and blame me during the show live. Make sure you listen live. That's why.
That's exactly right. And the stream as well, where we're live right now, twitch.tv/Shander Show, at Shander Show, at Ron Culver, 2 N's. So I have a dilemma right now. And you are heavily involved in this program, for better or worse.
Worse. Okay, go ahead.
So I look at what we have today. We only have, realistically, we have 8 segments.
Right.
And 4 of those segments are usually shorter segments, about 6-7 minutes or so at most. Fake news is one of them, so that's out. John McMullen is another one, that's out. Now we have 6 segments. One for the road, that's out. So now we have 5 segments. 5 segments. Now, I have the NFL, which should take at least 2 segments. That's down to 3. I have college football, which should take 1 segment. That's down to 2. And we should mention that there's an NBA Finals going on. Now we're down to 1. It doesn't leave any time to talk about anything else outside of sports or even in general, outside of just the top. Like, I feel like we're either going to be a jukebox on Monday or we are going to break entirely from the norm. And I don't know if that's a good idea at all.
I'm surprised that you're actually squeezing in on a football Monday, that you're squeezing in NBA talk or college football.
Well, it's
talk.
the finals and the SEC just came back.
I know, but I mean, that's what tomorrow is for.
Really? Should we
Yeah,
just
well,
dump
so-
everything on Tuesday
Dude, there was so much football that happened over the weekend.
and not even mention college on Monday? I mean, look, we can probably get a couple of minutes from Alan Commandant Lazard, I'm sure. Yeah, you don't get that, do you? Do you not get that reference? How he's not named Commandant is beyond me. Do you not get that reference? I've said that upon deaf ears before, and I'm not sure if that's your ears or not. I can't remember.
Sorry, I had to answer a phone, wrong number again.
Oh, I love that.
The guy just answered the phone and goes, Dave. I'm like, excuse me?
Well, it could very well be somebody
No,
calling.
I answered the
Dave's
phone.
not here, man. I mean, it could be one of those
I
bits.
was hoping so, but I answered the phone, Sports Map Radio.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Now
I should have responded, Dave's not here.
Yeah, exactly, man. Come on, where are you on this?
God, I missed a golden opportunity. Call back.
All right.
If you were the person who called, just call back.
I just want to make sure we're clear here before we move forward.
Man.
We're not going to talk about anything other than the NFL today and
Well,
Mondays
that's-
moving forward.
I mean, honestly, okay, just to give you the quick rundown of rundowns, I mean, the entire first hour of Tony and I, we talked NFL.
Well, fair. I only
Entire
squeezed.
First hour of Jake was talking NFL. So, I mean, basketball. They don't
I'm not
play
going to
again
talk
till
about the
Wednesday.
NBA Finals
Yeah,
now.
We can't. We could just mention who's in it.
Okay, that's fair.
and
fair.
we can mention that your parlay bet almost paid off.
It did, except for hockey.
Yeah,
Hockey's the one that killed me.
That wasn't the one that I was worried about, though. I was more worried about. I thought for sure the Lakers would drop one.
Nope.
because
Lakers are
'cause
motivated,
play,
man.
They don't, they wouldn't have played again until later on.
I see. Now you're breaking your own rule. We're talking about the Lakers and we're
Wow,
talking about the
I
NBA.
was talking about your parlay bet that you made last Friday.
Well, speaking of which, the big bust for me over the weekend was
all your money in on the Falcons.
No, actually, all my money in on the Eagles.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
Now, here's what I did. I played the Eagles in 4 different money line parlays. And what I did is I matched up teams that needed to win, that were going to win. Like, there was no way at all on any planet that the Colts were going to lose to the Jets. The Browns were going to lose to Washington. So that was a heavy.
I don't know about that.
No, I'm telling you,
made that one.
I had a doubt they would cover the 7 points, but not that they would lose the game. So that was one of them where you just tag on 3 teams, and the Eagles.
You thought for sure the Browns were going to lose to that Washington football team.
Win.
Oh, win. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
No, that was my 3. Remember, we coined a phrase on Friday, the 3-way safe play parlay of the weekend.
Yeah.
And that was Indianapolis, Philadelphia, Cleveland. Of all teams, it was Philadelphia who couldn't squeeze this out because the head coach decides, well, it wasn't just him. The quarterback was atrocious, but they punted the ball on
4th and 3.
Yes.
No, this is, I mean, that 4th and 3, this was the argument Tony and I made. In that situation, I think as an NFL head coach, you got to know who you're playing against.
Right.
And in that moment, first of all, I think you should have just gone for the field goal. Why not? Just try it.
Well, here's the thing.
I mean,
you either go for it. You either go for the field goal or you go for a first down / penalty.
Right.
Like, how is punting in your vocabulary?
Because here's what I was getting to is that you got to know your opponent. Joe Burrow isn't leading a team down the field in 19 seconds with no timeouts.
No.
I'm sorry.
Not even against the Eagles defense, which is one of the worst in the NFL.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers, probably. Drew Brees, even though Drew Brees looks like a shell of his former self. Yeah, but, maybe. I mean, you talk about some of these elite quarterbacks. Sure, they can do it. Joe Burrow, I mean, he's not leading this team down the field in 19 seconds.
No, and I think despite the success that he had, it took time. All of those drives there weren't many big plays that broke for 40 or 50 yards. And I don't know how at that point when you're on the other end of it. And again, you have to 19 seconds with no timeouts. They didn't have a timeout.
Yeah.
I don't know how you don't have any confidence at all and like Doug Peterson had no confidence in anybody. Nobody. He didn't have any confidence in the quarterback. He didn't have any confidence in the kicker. He didn't have any confidence in the defense. Nothing. He just said, that's it. I'm done. I'm gone. And people were like, yo, dude, there's like 12 seconds left. What are you doing? And he's like, nope, that's it. Sorry. I want to go home. I've had enough today. I would like to go home. I would like to end this experiment. And meanwhile, you have everybody looking around thinking, and to your point about a 62-yarder, yeah, it's a 62-yarder. But
why not?
Exactly, why not? And I don't know about you, but we saw a couple of really big kicks yesterday. One from the Cowboys that was at least like 54, something like that. We saw a bunch of kicks because I was watching the Red Zone before it was on at 4 o'clock here on the network. And honestly, Ron, I saw kicks that were going from like 54, 55 yards that were clearing, right? Easily clearing.
Remember the stigma was, it was like, oh my God, a 50-yarder, that's almost impossible. Now we're getting to that point. I mean, there's a reason why we moved the extra point back to 35 yards. And it's because these kickers are getting stronger. The legs are getting stronger. Every single time you see them on a kickoff, they're kicking from their 35-yard line, right?
Yeah. Correct.
And yes, they have a 10-yard run-up, but the fact is that they're drilling it through the uprights. Now, when you do a field goal, you're about half the distance of a run-up, so you don't really have much of a run-up. But this is what they practice over and over and over again. And it's just, blasting the ball. 63-yarder would have gone in. I don't know. I mean, the chance of it going in probably slim to none. He probably would have shanked it really bad. But at least it would have been, some cojones behind it saying, I'm going for the win.
And this is a guy who was basically jettisoned into this big cojones thing where Doug was going for it on fourth down. I think like Belichick might have been the only guy going for it more, but even still, Doug was like top 2 or top 3 in the NFL.
And listen, he bested Belichick.
Well, yeah,
so, you got that going for you too. That's why I'm just curious. Like, a Philly fan, Nathan, you're representing all of Philly fan today.
Oh my goodness! Well, we do have the stream up.
It's a tough one, but you're representing all of Philly fan. How would you feel if Doug Peterson went for the field goal, went for it on fourth, and didn't convert? I
would say this. Realistically speaking, I think what that does, and it's not an easy answer, but that was the big. Like, think about it. Outside of a penalty yesterday, and I know that Rams fans are really upset about that penalty that happened against the Bills, although the Bills pulled out you talk about somebody who can march down the field, game-winning drive. Josh Allen has been beyond impressive this year. But outside of, I'm just trying to think real quick, because this will put into context the answer to your question, Ron. But outside of what we saw with Doug Peterson not going for it on fourth down, where there was literally, 12, 14 seconds, 19 seconds, I think, total on the clock. And that was at the play clock, not when they actually were done with the play. Not going for it on fourth down in a tie situation or kicking a field goal. I'm trying to think, but nothing real. Atlanta was just so bad. But was there one blunder? Like, not even DK Metcalf going full Leon Lett was a bigger blunder than what Doug Peterson did as far as not going for it, as far as not attempting anything. I honestly can't think of a bigger mental blunder from player or coach yesterday across the NFL than what Doug Peterson did. And we saw a couple. I mean, we saw the Falcons meltdown. There's just no reason why. There is zero reason why Dan Quinn has a job today. And if you are a Falcons fan, and if you are somebody who has a voice in Atlanta and you continue this thing to go on, then you are part of the problem as well for being silent or not saying enough. But even still, I'm trying to think specifically, racking my brain in that game. There were just bad plays by the Falcons, and they let up, which we saw last week. Onside kick. I don't want to call that a blunder, although you could argue that guys weren't really well coached. So, yeah, in all of this, trying to figure out, in comparison at least, if there was anything worse than what Doug Peterson did on Sunday, I can't think of one. It doesn't mean that somebody didn't make a mistake. It doesn't mean that somebody didn't fumble, or, Dak Prescott with a crucial turnover that turned around and actually was a 10-point swing when you looked at it. But still, Doug Peterson, of all people, turned into a pumpkin in a big moment where he has branded himself through his own actions as having the big cojones. And I just don't know what happened. So to answer your question, if in fact Doug Peterson went for it, they didn't get it, then it's not a story. You understand? Like, that's the difference. It's not like Doug Peterson would be heralded. It's not like Doug Peterson would be praised, because Doug didn't have a great day. Carson Wentz was atrocious. Jim Schwartz and the defense were awful. Joe Burrow, credit this young man. He can play, and he's smart. He's smart. He knows when to go down. He knows when to throw the football away. He's got instinct. And I hope Carson Wentz was paying attention, probably not on the sidelines. But the answer is, it's not a story. The answer is, at least they tried, and it's kind of just swept under the whole narrative of what happened. Well, they shouldn't have been in that position in the first place, so it's kind of a tough spot, 4th and 12. I think even if they kick the field goal and Jake Elliott misses, or if they go for it on fourth down and Carson Wentz, think about that. Let's look at a specific example real quick before we break. We'll touch on some other games, including what happened last night. Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, two guys right now who are just on fire. But if Carson Wentz drops back, throws an incomplete pass on 4th and 12 in overtime that could have extended the play and put them back into field goal position, then nobody's saying anything about Doug Peterson on that play. People are just using that incomplete pass to continue to pile on the awful day that Carson Wentz had.
Well, it depends on the pass. If he grossly overthrows them, then yeah, we can pile on Wentz. But if it was well deflected, receiver dropped it, if we had a I don't remember the kid's first name, but Swift, Detroit Lions, Swift, when he dropped the surefire touchdown.
Yeah.
That would have given, if you had that situation for a first down, Wentz gets a free pass.
Not the day that he had. Remember, you have to.
No, but I'm saying
you have to compound
we're not
everything in
going
there.
to put that on him if he had, someone going across the middle that dropped a ball, like literally just went right through his
Right.
hands.
And that's where I think that best case scenario,
But
if everything was crisp, you would have people go back to the poor day he
But
had.
I'm saying, like, for the Eagles overall, you guys, all you Philly fans would have felt so much better.
Absolutely.
Had you gone for it
Absolutely.
on 4th down
We would have
and
been
just
upset.
tried something.
Absolutely. No, you're 100%
You would have
right.
been bummed.
Just
that you didn't
do something.
convert, that the field goal wasn't good, that the game ended in tie, but you would have been like, you know what? But I'm not going to take it away from them because they tried it.
Yeah, no, that is exactly it. Is there was an attempt, and the lack of an attempt is what gets us the most, and it's what should get everybody out there. All right, at Shander Show, at Ron Culver, 800-224-2004. I contest that it's not the New York Jets, it's not Ron Culver's Chargers who came down to life a little bit. It's not the New York Giants who are expected to be this horrific. It's the Philadelphia Eagles. It's not even the Houston Texans. It's the Philadelphia Eagles that are by a mile the most disappointing story right now in the NFL as a whole. And then here comes Nick Foles. Man, you're right. We do have tons of NFL to get to. We'll get to all that next here on the second level.
Imagine learning about radio and being mentored by.
Yeah, I'm with you, but I don't think the Eagles are the worst team in the NFL.
Not worst.
Because there's radio.
Not worst.
You think what? You
Disappointing.
Nah, I still say there's one team that beat you.
Okay, I'm going to put this
Pros.
out here.
Plus, you don't have to worry about getting into a crazy amount of debt with school tuition either. Radio Connection keeps their tuition at much lower costs. To find out more info, visit radioconnection.com.
Pushing the odds with Matt Peralt.
When you look at the league in terms of where this league is right now, after LeBron James leaves, the players who will be left, the NBA is in really good shape. I mean, you've got Jamal Murray, who is just 23 years of age. You've got Luka Doncic, who is just 21 years of age. You have Donovan Mitchell, who is just 23 years of age. You've got both Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, who are under 23. I mean, there are so many young superstars, budding superstars in the NBA right now. It's always a league of stars, right? But everyone was so nervous and worried after Michael Jordan left, like who was going to carry the mantle. And we saw what happened after that. And now everyone's so worried that when LeBron James is done, who's going to carry the mantle? Well, I mean, the league is in really good shape with some really, really good players and some very talented teams.
Pushing the odds with Matt Peralt, weekday afternoons from 1 to 4 Eastern.
Headed to Texas to watch your team play, but don't know where to go for that pregame drink? Visit CultureMap.com for all of the hottest spots in Houston, Austin, Dallas, Fort Worth, and San Antonio. From the most popular bars to those favorite dine-in gems, Culture Map has it all. Then before you leave town, why not visit some of the best places to shop or see some of the sights? Culture Map has extensive coverage on all the things to do in the city you're in. So check out CultureMap.com. That's CultureMap.com.
The Jake Asman Show.
I never want to hear about the salary cap in the NFL again. If the Rams could afford to pay the most amount of money to a defensive player in Aaron Donald and the most amount of money to any secondary player in the history of the NFL in Jalen Ramsey, like, I don't want to hear about the cap. The salary cap is just it's like the Subway $5 footlong. It's just a figment of your imagination. If you need to make it work in the NFL salary cap wise, you can make it work. If you're Subway and you want to lie to everyone for over a decade about the $5 footlong, apparently you can do that without any consequence. The salary cap is a figment of your imagination in the NFL, just as the Subway $5 footlong is a figment of your imagination. It's not real. It's fake. You know, the salary cap's monopoly money. The Subway $5 footlong is a hoax.
Now I got to do the damn thing on Twitch.
Anytime I can take a dig at
Stupid
Subway,
thing. It always
my,
happens.
Campaign against Subway.
The Jake Asman Show, weekday mornings from 9 to 11 Eastern.
You're listening to The Second Level on the SportsMap Radio Network.
Presented by Rocket Mortgage. Home loans that fit your life. Rocket can.
From the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios, with way more than the scores, here's Eitan Shander.
We'll take a little time. Maybe 9 minutes from now, we'll look at this as far as the most disappointing team through 3 weeks in the NFL. I put it out there on Twitter, at Shander Show. Of course, I tweeted something else out just before, so that has taken over a lot of people's attention, including Dave Schaller, at Dave Schaller, who is fantastic at his job, the Sixers executive vice president of communications. There was some report that a local reporter here in Philadelphia just speculated, saying that Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons don't get along. So I tweeted a quote from Boomerang about the Fat Boys breaking up. Now this, and Dave immediately responded. So now my timeline is completely derailed on that stuff. But I did put the tweet out asking the most disappointing team in the NFL through 3 weeks. And Ron, as you heard on the break, twitch.tv/Shander Show, disagrees. So we'll stretch that a little bit coming up in 8 minutes. But before that, last night, and really yesterday afternoon, depending on where you are around the country or world, however you consume this show on this network, but we had two guys right now who are clearly neck and neck for best quarterback in the NFC. You can argue that they have a bid, at the very least, Russell Wilson does, for the MVP. Now, we have two teams tonight with two quarterbacks that are probably going to stand up and say, don't forget about us. The Ryan Tannehill experiment kind of came back down to earth as well, with no touchdowns in that pick, despite going for 300 yards. Ben Roethlisberger, unfortunately for a couple of bets that I placed, Ben Roethlisberger looks pretty good right now as the comeback player of the year, although Cam Newton is right there as well, and he just needs to have a couple of better games despite what New England is doing. So we're down to four quarterbacks, as I think we pretty much figured we would be at the start of the season. But whether or not you had Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, a Deshaun Watson, for example, who is out of the conversation, or maybe a dark horse candidate like Tom Brady, Drew Brees, or even somebody down the middle like a Dak Prescott, or dare I say now, a Carson Wentz. The reality is we have two guys who played yesterday that are just playing this game different. They're just on a different level. And it's amazing theater to watch because they both come with awesome backstories. I don't know what happened in Green Bay, but there was so much speculation that the Packers were pushing Aaron Rodgers out, and that the Packers have already drafted Aaron Rodgers' replacement, and that Aaron Rodgers is begging to get out of Green Bay. And as big of a cap hit and as tough as it would be from a fiscal standpoint to get rid of him after this year, it's all but gone when you talk about the reality that he's back. Forget it. Just get rid of Aaron Rodgers. That's the plan here. And the reverse has happened. And again, I don't know if Aaron Rodgers was extra motivated before or after, whatever the case may be. But this man is playing on a completely different level of comfort that we've seen Aaron Rodgers play. See, Russell Wilson, we'll get to him in a second, is a little different because you can compare him to what's happening around the NFL. Aaron Rodgers has had MVP years. Aaron Rodgers won a Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers has been there at the top and is routinely referenced as one of the best talent-driven, at least, quarterbacks in the NFL, maybe ever. Aaron Rodgers, especially if you look at the first 3 weeks, and going into New Orleans, fans or no fans, is a difficult feat. Aaron Rodgers is playing on a different level of what we're used to seeing Aaron Rodgers play at. Some of that is just the offense, asking him to get rid of the ball very quickly. Also knowing that your defense is going to give up points, and you have to get down the field as fast as possible without it just relying on big plays. They move the ball. Rodgers is going to multiple different levels on defenses. It's awesome to watch. And then you have Russell Wilson, where that conversation for so long was, man, can you imagine what would happen if you gave him weapons? It reminded me a ton of the conversation with Barry Sanders. And yes, you could compare him to Emmitt Smith and other running backs who had a line, because we know Barry had nothing. And you were just looking at him, you felt sorry for Barry. You felt sorry for this guy. Just get him out. That was well before Twitter and a hashtag like Free Barry, but I guarantee you that would have been going on. And it was just, get this guy some protection. Imagine what would happen if Barry Sanders actually had an offensive line. You started to dream. Imagine what would happen if Russell Wilson had two guys that could sprint down the field, one who is just a monster when you look at his size, the other who is such a crisp route runner. What if you actually got Russell Wilson weapons? What if you could actually drop the quarterback back and have him throw the ball 40 yards in the air consistently? Imagine what that would look like. We're living it out. It's not the Seahawks. It sure as hell isn't the Packers. Who is the most disappointing team through 3 in the NFL? We'll hit on that next year in the second level.
Customers, students, and staff expect a new level of clean. Cintas has the essential products and services to help you carry out cleaning protocols effectively. Cintas performs surface sanitizer and
So did you
disinfectant spray
see,
services to common touch points, installs and refills touchless hand sanitizer dispensers, and provides commercial laundry services to help minimize employee exposure. Give everyone the confidence they need to keep coming back. Visit Cintas.com.
So to you, I don't know if you remember this, Ron, but in 2008, the Eagles and Bengals played to a tie. And Donovan McNabb was quoted infamously saying that he didn't know games could end in a tie. And everybody was ripping him like, how are you a starting quarterback and you don't know that a game could end in a tie? So yesterday, and this was a total troll job by me, but you couldn't believe how many people thought this was real and were actually mad. So I tweeted, Doug Peterson said he punted at the end of OT because he didn't know games could end in a tie. Wow. Like, blatant reference to what happened the last time they played with the Bank. I mean, granted, it's 12 years ago, but my goodness. And I had people in the timeline like, there's no way he said that. Shut up. Like, just angry. And then other people like, somebody retweeted it from a Pittsburgh fan base. And I had Pittsburgh fans, like I had Dolphins fans. I had random fans jumping in there being like, this idiot won a Super Bowl. Are you kidding me? Fire him now.
Those pants look amazing on you. And I say, thanks. They're Skechers Go Walk Wear pants. And why do I always get compliments on these casual, athletic, stretchy pants? They're made with comfortable Go Flex fabric that has compression and hold. They have 4 pockets, plus they're machine washable and come in extended sizes. That's the Skechers Go Walk Wear line of pants. Find yours at Skechers.
Somebody just quoted the tweet.
Store near you.
Angry at Peterson because he thinks it's real.
No more compromise.
Like,
with the T-Mobile
how do you
Business
not
Advantage,
get
you get
that?
the largest 5G network, award-winning customer support, and insanely great value. No trade-offs. Right now, get up to 90 days of unlimited free on business plans when you switch via bill credits. Stop in to find out more. Plus taxes and fees for some plans. Complete port within 60.
We have Mitch from Jersey on.
Okay. Let's do the NFL thing first.
Yeah.
For 5G devices covered.
So he wants to talk Chargers. So
Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Mortgage.
Remember, if he
making
is
the
a
right
Chargers
financial
fan.
decisions has never been more important. When you turn to Rocket Mortgage, we can help guide you to those right decisions now when they matter most. Mortgage rates are near historic lows, so now is a great time to call 8338-ROCKET. And if you need some extra money, a cash-out refinance could give you that financial boost you're looking for. Call today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. And MLS number 3030.
Dealing with the root of the issues. It's the second level on the SportsMap Radio Network.
Presented by Rocket Mortgage.
Live from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios. Here's Eitan Shander.
So interesting question now as you look through the first 3 weeks of the NFL. You've got a couple of bad teams. The surprise has to be Chicago, or up there as 3-0, shifting, and rightfully so, I'd add, from somebody just saved their job, shifting from Mitchell Trubisky to Nick Foles. I don't know how long it lasts. It should last longer than just one game. But Nick Foles looked beyond comfortable. Receivers, look, everything just clicked. Even after a pick, Nick Foles was able to settle down and help lead a comeback, another comeback in his career. And that was much easier to stomach watching the Eagles suffer their way through a tie to the Cincinnati Bengals. 5 quarters not enough there. The Chicago Bears, Nick Foles' comeback was much easier to watch than, Dak Prescott mounting this unbelievable historic comeback that we saw last week. Pretty difficult to do against the Seahawks, and not because of Seattle's defense, but because Seattle's offense just refuses to stop scoring. And they would have had another one if DK Metcalf didn't Leon let a football away. Ridiculous play by Metcalf, but he made up for it. Everybody there. Tyler Lockett was just dominant. So if you look at, let's say, a division, for example, the NFC West, Rams lose to one of the best teams in the NFL right now. Their quarterback, Josh Allen, is answering a lot of questions in Buffalo about how consistent and deep his arm can be throughout the season. 3 weeks, no issues there. Rams, that's a good loss. San Francisco, we know they've lost everybody and suffered a loss as a result of that. They've won 2 straight, especially going on the road and beating up on the Giants, yes, but having nobody there as far as starters really to do it. Very impressive by the Niners. No surprise at all that they're 2-1, 3-0. Cardinals, look, it was not a great game for Arizona. They already stocked up some cachet by having the 2 wins to go into this weekend. So when you suffer a loss like that to Detroit, it doesn't look as bad because you're not 1-2 right now or 0-3, something along those lines. Arizona is playing well, but even still, not this major surprise by any means that they're 2-1. Atlanta, 0-3, you would think. I think what's more surprising about Atlanta being 0-3 is that Carolina's not right there with them. That's probably the biggest surprise there. Minnesota is definitely a shock, and we can talk about them in a second here. But as far as teams up top, Washington, it's 1-2 on the year. That shouldn't really account for anything outside of just we knew this division was trash. We knew last year this division was trash. It got worse. As bad as the NFC East was last year, it got worse. So the question came up about the most disappointing, because again, the Bills were the odds-on favorite for a majority of the summer to win the AFC East. The Steelers come back. They're 3-0. Maybe that's a little bit of a surprise, but is it a surprise that they're better than both Cincinnati and Cleveland? It shouldn't be. The Titans were in the playoffs last year. They knocked off the Ravens last year, and the Colts got a little bit better, not really at the quarterback position, but outside of injury. So flip that and just look at the most disappointing team. Look at a team that right now, through the first 3 weeks, has failed to live up to every expectation, not just the big 1 or 2 expectations, but everything across the board, to where this entire first 3 weeks, this early stretch has been an unmitigated disaster. One in which you were just thoroughly ill-prepared for every single week in multiple facets. And on top of that, what people, and this is the big one for me, what people expected out of you to start the season, like where you were favored to finish. And on top of that, fans from not only you and the rest of the fans who root for this team in question, but what a lot of people thought. Talking heads to people that just follow the league outside of fill-in-the-blank city. So I don't know how it's not Philadelphia. And I get it, like 0-2-1 is better than 0-3. And if you point to an 0-3 team just on record, it might serve purpose where that tie actually helps you to get into that third wild card or something along those lines. But we're watching in Philadelphia, at least, and I'll give you my specifics and we'll listen to Ron's dark horse candidate here. But I'm watching.
It's a dark horse candidate.
Well, it's not mine, so therefore it's a dark horse.
Okay.
I'm watching an Eagles team that is 3 straight years in the postseason, overcoming injury after injury. So I can't really harp on who's out and how many injuries they have. A quarterback who has turned into fill in the blank, Chuck Knobloch, whoever it comes to mind, as far as like he's got the yips. I'm watching a quarterback who has the yips. Carson Wentz can't drop back and complete consistently a 5-yard swing pass to a running back, a 10-yard out, a 15-yard post. He can't complete these basic passes consistently. And that is a guy who was the odds-on MVP 3 years ago. So it's not like injury has decimated him or anything along those lines. It's he can't play the game. I'm watching a head coach who has been emasculated. He has truly turned from somebody who was aggressive to a fault at times, going for it every place that he possibly could. 4th and 8 on his own 38. He's going for it. Just ridiculous, belligerent at times. Turn into a shell of himself and forget the feel of a game. And actually went on locally this morning on a local radio show that he does every week. He went on this morning and admitted in hindsight he should have done something. He should have kicked the field goal or gone for it, but definitely not punted. And I'm watching a defense that can't stop anybody. Nobody. And outside of Dallas, who is down so many people, is one of the worst defenses. And the reason why I say the Eagles, after all of that, are the most disappointing team so far is because they were predicted to be, rightfully so, neck and neck with Washington to win this division. They've lost to, Dallas. They've lost to Washington and tied Cincinnati. So that's my argument. I've just laid it all out there on the floor there as far as why the Eagles have been so wretched when it comes to their performance and not meeting expectations. You have a team that you think is more disappointing than the Eagles, of course.
Yes.
Is it Minnesota?
No, it's Atlanta.
No, Atlanta?
Atlanta. If you give up two weeks in a row now, Atlanta has got to be, I'm not even going to say the unluckiest team. They've been playing well
on
in
offense.
These games. They can't finish it. They can't sustain. There is something fundamentally wrong when you cannot finish out a game when you're up by that much every single time. And now it's creating a stigma for Atlanta because we always make fun of them for 28-3. Now they're just living that out in real time.
Well, yeah, but is that new?
Well, yeah, I mean, yes, because 28-3 wasn't that was 4 years ago, right?
Yeah,
and they haven't really done that since then. They've been mediocre at best, but they haven't been blowing these games in epic proportions. 2 weeks in a row now, they've had a lead late in the game just to squander it away. And yesterday they did it to Nick Foles and the Bears. And that's inexcusable. That is crazy. I can almost make an argument for the Cowboys. The Cowboys do have a good team.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, though. I mean, you're talking about losing to undefeated teams.
But what I'm talking about is being up by 20 with less than a quarter to play. And that's where it's getting ridiculous that these guys have it in the bag. They just, for whatever reason, offense all of a sudden just gets way too conservative. Defense doesn't know what to do.
Well, that's the point. Okay, you're right. I'm not arguing with anything that you're saying. The Atlanta Falcons, and this is what makes Dan Quinn's job just laughable that he's still employed right now. But I wonder how much of that was expected. Did you honestly believe the Falcons would be one of the top 2 teams this year in the NFC South with the addition of Brady and what's going on in Tampa and the return of New Orleans?
Think that, but I also thought they would be a little more competitive. I mean, right now, the Atlanta Falcons, they should be 2-1. Right? Wouldn't you agree?
I would say 1-2.
You don't think I think they should be 2-1 just because they should have beaten the Cowboys. They should have beaten the Bears yesterday. There's your 2 wins.
I don't think about the Bears personally.
You think the Bears are a better team than the Falcons?
Yes. But here's the thing. Their defense is atrocious, and their defense was horrible last year, too.
Well, I know, but I mean, they're letting these games get away. They're letting these teams get back on them. And that's where you got to do something about it. I mean, sure, I'm not going to say that, watching an onside kick spin like a top last week was the answer, what they were doing. But I mean, that's still an excuse. This team is way better than what they're projecting or putting out there on each Sunday.
Oh, man, you give them way too much credit because that offense is a fantasy player's dream. And I agree that they've got 3 guys. Julio makes 4 that they can throw to consistently. Todd Gurley clearly has found a home down there. But coming into the season, and this was the whole thing about Dan Quinn. Like, Dan Quinn shouldn't have been back in the first place.
No, he shouldn't be. And how he still has a job today is beyond me. He must have something on Arthur Blank right now.
Who should be fired for? All right, so hold on a second before I even get to that, and let me write that down so I don't forget it. But I think, man, the Falcons, they're a good. I just disagree. But I think
no. I know you're blinded by your own Eagle fan.
But I think Minnesota. You can make an argument for Minnesota.
Well, no,
over Atlanta.
No, Minnesota is trying to tank this year. They're just secretly doing it.
Is that it?
Yeah, they don't care about Kirk Cousins anymore. They're tanking for Trevor.
They've got 90 million, thousand billion, to paraphrase the president. They've got 90,000 billion million dollars, cooped up into Kirk Cousins, but they're going to draft Trevor Lawrence.
They're going to draft Trevor Lawrence, and then they'll have him watch a football season, and then he'll take. I doubt they'll have him watch a football season, but they might Tyrod Taylor Kirk Cousins
just to get away from him.
Just say,
unbelievable,
bad.
Unbelievable.
I mean, seriously, if nothing happens to that doctor with the Chargers, do you see other NFL teams saying, "Hey, give him the T-squared treatment"?
Well, the former doctor of the Chargers, who was under a lot of hot water and scrutiny, has now made a name for himself as like a media analyst. So if this guy's smart, he'd be leaving the team and doing media tours and get picked up by like CBS Sports or whoever employs Dr. Chow now. I think it's like outkick the coverage or something. Who knows? But yeah, that's what I would do. All right. We are at an impasse because I'm not going to convince Ron, and you are not going to convince me. No, I know, but I wonder, outside of Atlanta, Philadelphia, and Minnesota, we leave this open here, twitch.tv/Shander Show, 800-224-2004, and of course, at Ron Culver, 2 N's, at Shander Show, both on Twitter. If there was another team, a fourth team that you could add to the mix as far as being more disappointing than Philadelphia, Minnesota, or as Ron throws in, Atlanta. Now, I have the results for our picks. We picked every single game really quick.
Rapid fire, too.
I don't
even remember what I picked.
I have them all written down. It's our quick picks. We'll do that every week, our quick picks segment of the week, where we just rapid fire through everything. We don't even give analysis. It's just boom, boom, boom. I have the results. We'll do that next as we wrap the hour.
Wake up call. Starting with the Arizona Cardinals hosting the Washington Redskins. Oh, come on. Dwayne Haskins. Kyle Murray. Come on.
No, you were wrong there.
Why?
The Washington football team.
Did I say Redskins?
You did.
I should find myself $1 every time I do it this season.
That's $1 in the old
So I'm
R
going to
jar.
put that in the R jar at the house, and at the end of the season, I'll see how much I have.
Probably would pay for your fantasy football league.
You're probably right, because I'm not going to win this year. Because my number one pick, Michael Thomas, has an ankle injury that's probably going to plague him all year.
Probably.
Remember when we talked about Kevin Durant in basketball? We were like, when is he coming back from that? It's going to be like that. Michael Thomas is just going to be out every game, but every week you're going to be like, he could come back. He's looking better. And then Sunday, he's not playing. It'll be like that for 9 straight weeks. All right, so $1 is in the R jar because I mentioned Redskins.
Wake up call with Tony B and Ron Culver. Weekday mornings from 7 to 9 Eastern.
Coast to coast.
Stop with the Jeff Van Gundy for the 1,000th time getting every job that's open in the NBA for the last 15 years. The guy's got the cushiest job in television. If he comes back after what has it been, 20 years to coach, up keel over. I mean, he's been offered every job in America. He's been offered the White House, and he turned that down too.
Pharrell Coast to Coast with Scott Pharrell. Weekdays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern.
The second level.
Let's go!
German lower league side SG Ripdorf Molzen 2 suffered a 37-0 defeat on Sunday after only fielding 7 players in a bid to maintain social distancing against their opponents as they feared contracting the coronavirus. So, I don't know here. I mean, what about the 7 guys who were thrown out there, right? Is that just by lotto? How do you determine that? They threw 7 guys out there on the pitch, and they got pounded into the ground 37-0. The Clippers didn't even lose that bad. Why wouldn't you just not play the match? Wouldn't that be the best thing to do? If you're going to take the L, you know you're not going to win with only 7 guys out there anyway. So what statement are you making here?
The second level with Eitan Shander. Weekdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern.
Wake up call.
I don't know if it's the most Metsian thing ever,
but it's close. It's
close.
up there. It's on the large list.
I still say batting out of order.
We've done this show for a little over 2 years, and I feel like we could write a book on all the amount of Metsian things that we talked about on this program.
That's why this fell into the dumb of the day. Not for what Brody said, for you being absent.
That's right.
Wake Up Call with Tony D and Ron Culver. Weekday mornings from 7 to 9 Eastern.
Scratching beneath the surface. It's the second level on the SportsMap Radio Network.
Presented by Rocket Mortgage.
From the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios, here's Eitan Shander.
All right, let's do this real quick. As quick as we did the picks here. So we both had Atlanta -3. That was an X. Rams +2. Now, despite what we saw at the end of that game, just missed out on that. +3 we needed. Cleveland -7, so we both hit on that. Tennessee -2.5. We lost on that. New England -5.5. I believe they covered that, right? 36 to... They beat them up, didn't they? Where is that? There we go. 36-20. Yep. So they got that. You were on San Fran. I was on the Giants. So nice job on that. You were on Cincinnati. I was on Philadelphia. Nice job on that. We were both on Houston off. We both hit Indianapolis -11.5. Both missed on the Chargers.
Don't remind me.
You took Tampa Bay. Smart. I mistaken. I thought Blake was out there. It was Jake Driscoll. You took Detroit. Look at you.
Yeah.
I took Arizona. We both were on Seattle, and we were both on Green Bay. So you got me by 4. Look at that.
Yeah, who knew? I knew what I was talking about.
We'll do this.
Don't even know what I'm talking about.
The record is margin of victory each week. So you're up 4-0 after week 3, and we just started this week 3. But you got me 4-0. Unbelievable. We got beat. A couple of these were stupid when I look back at it. Like, what the hell was I doing taking the Giants +3.5?
Yeah.
Tennessee, I'm surprised.
You know what your problem was? You thought
lost.
you were looking at the Niners going, you know what? Half their team got injured.
Yeah,
the Giants
you're
are
right.
gonna do something at home.
Well, also, you're right, where I didn't give the Niners depth credit, and we've seen Nick Mullins throw before when asked upon, and I don't know, the Giants, I just did not think the Giants offense from a passing standpoint would look so bad, and yet it really has. Giants they can't do anything. If you can't throw the ball in New York, you can't do anything because they have no running game. Their defense all over the place is atrocious. I'm pretty impressed, man. You just blew through those, and it was the ones that you disagreed with me that you won. Everything else we went collectively. We rode or died, whatever it was. Houston killed us. Arizona, nice job on that, man. All right, second hour, John McMullen, fake news.
The Jake Asman Show.
What's an easier costume, the Gardner Minshew or me always being Jake from State Farm every year? I would say Jake from State Farm. All you need is khaki pants, a red polo shirt, print out the State Farm logo, print out a name tag that says Jake, and you're ready to go. It is the go-to costume of mine because it's easy and people always laugh. And unlike other people that do it, my name is actually Jake.
The Jake Asman Show. Weekday mornings from 9 to 11 Eastern.
Wake up call.
Derek Carr.
Derek Carr, yeah. Gruden's kind of ticked off at him.
Yeah. Derek Carr last Sunday decided to call an audible.
Hey, Cindy Gruden, Tiger Woods.
I could see him going, Derek, now you got to pick other names besides my wife. I got to be honest with you. She's not a huge fan of being on it. And I'm not really either, but it'd be better if you just didn't mention her name. But what if Derek Carr goes, it was the ultimate compliment? I was calling a hot route and your wife is hot.
Would you want Derek Carr, who's a good-looking man, be calling your wife out for being hot? And not only that, but in the same context of Tiger Woods. Okay, you called a hot route. What's Tiger Woods mean?
True. Good point. That combination doesn't work. No. If I was Gruden, I wouldn't mind mentioning the white, but not in the same sentence as Tiger Woods.
Wake up call with Tony D and Ron Culver. Weekday mornings from 7 to 9 Eastern.
Coast to coast.
Why should some teams be allowed to have fans and other teams can't have any? You talk about a disadvantage. I mean, it's that simple. Plus, who wants to go to a Dolphin game anyway? They suck. They're not going to play Tua. They're going to suck anyway like they always do. So who wants to go to a Dolphin game? Joe Ranieri knows they suck too. I wouldn't bet on him if it hit me in the head.
Pharrell Coast to Coast with Scott Pharrell. Weekdays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern.
Where are jobs in radio given out? They're not given out on a college campus. No, they're given out in the real world at real radio stations. And to get a job, you need to know people. That's where Radio Connection comes in. Most on Radio Connection gives you the opportunity to learn from professional mentors in real radio stations. They've put their private classrooms in these places so you can apprentice under professionals. And as you learn, you're making connections and gaining access to the people that are doing the hiring. This is not the promise of a job, no, but it is the promise to get you as close to the action and opportunities as possible. If COVID is a concern, no problem. You can learn from a radio professional via remote learning tools as well. This is education reimagined to keep you out of debt as you learn in real-world settings. Interested? Visit radioconnection.com for more information today. That's radioconnection.com. Are you thinking that it's time to start looking for a new car? Then go to automotivemap.com to see the latest auto news, find out about what's ahead for your favorite brands, and learn how much that new car will cost you. Automotivemap.com is your place to see reviews, check out the hottest exotic cars, read tales from the road, and get acquainted with the luxury automotive lifestyle. Into hot mods? Want to see the cars celebrities drive? Love a good restoration job? From off-roading to on-roading, automotivemap.com has it covered. Visit automotivemap.com today. Are you thinking that it's time to start looking for a new car? Then go to automotivemap.com to see the latest auto news, find out about what's ahead for your favorite brands, and learn how much that new car will cost you. Automotivemap.com is your place to see reviews, check out the hottest exotic cars, read tales from the road, and get acquainted with the luxury automotive lifestyle. Into hot mods? Want to see the cars celebrities drive? Love a good restoration job? From off-roading to on-roading, automotivemap.com has it covered. Visit automotivemap.com today.
The Jake Asman Show.
Star Wars fans, and I'm one of them, are fed up. This is a $1 trillion franchise. You have 3 movies and 3 different interpretations. One of the key plot lines for the main character, what's going to happen. How do you screw this up? I mean, how do you have no idea who Rey's dad is or heritage is, the backstory of the most important character in the trilogy? It makes no sense. But when you watch the new trilogy, the biggest issue most fans have with it is that it feels like it's 3 totally separate movies that don't really intertwine with the storyline. Rian Johnson screwed up the middle one, all right? The last one, JJ's doing his best to try and save it, but it was all over the place. It felt forced. And then you know why it felt forced, because they had no idea what they were going to do with Rey in the sequels. And Daisy Ridley confirmed it.
The Jake Asman Show. Weekday mornings from 9 to 11 Eastern.
Imagine learning about radio and being mentored by true radio professionals in real radio stations. Well, actually, you don't have to imagine, because there's Radio Connection. Radio Connection gives you the opportunity to learn one-on-one and be mentored by radio pros. Plus, you don't have to worry about getting into a crazy amount of debt with school tuition either. Radio Connection keeps their tuition at much lower costs. To find out more info, visit radioconnection.com.
Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Mortgage. Making the right financial decisions has never been more important. When you turn to Rocket Mortgage, we can help guide you to those right decisions now, when they matter most. Mortgage rates are near historic lows, so now is a great time to call 8338-ROCKET. And if you need some extra money, a cash-out refinance could give you that financial boost you're looking for. Call today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. And MLS number 3030.
This is a Gal Media property in partnership with Jacob Media.
Set your system's volume control for slightly above the normal listening level. Let's go.
Second level thinking is defined as looking beyond the easy, obvious conclusions.
You got to do some smart thinking.
Welcome to the second level on the SportsMap Radio Network, a show where we go beyond the box score.
Presented by Rocket Mortgage. Home loans that fit your life. Rocket can.
Live from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios, here's Eitan Shander.
Second hour, we've got fake news with Ron Culver, John McMullen, our NFL insider, and up until Thursday was our fake news expert. We'll probably hang around. We've got a couple of other things we should get to regarding the day in the NFL. Mentioned as we began the last hour, our first hour, for the first time this year, it felt like college football was really back. We had a couple of little appetizers, but it wasn't much. And I know that you can go to your favorite restaurant and get something, and maybe it's a starter, a tapas, it's an appetizer, whatever it is, or however it's labeled on the menu. And it might be just your favorite thing on the menu, but you know you don't get much at all. I'll give you a perfect example, and I'm going to go from 5-star restaurant to fast food here in a matter of seconds, but Dunkin' has these amazing new things. I don't know if you've had them, Ron. If anybody out there on the stream at Shander Show, at Ron Culver, 2 N's, twitch.tv/Shander Show. But they have these new things called mini bagels or bagel minis, whatever they're called actually on the menu. I think they're bagel minis, but they always say, you mean mini bagels? So I say what's on the menu, and then the person on the phone says, no, you have to do it the other way. So they are basically these small little bagel balls, if you will, like a bagel hole. You know, you have donut holes, munchkins, if you will.
Yeah.
It's a munchkin, but it's made of a bagel, and cooked inside of it is a little dab of cream cheese. These things are amazing. It's the best thing you can get from Dunkin'. I love them. I'm addicted to them. But they only come in orders of 2. That's it. So it's not like they're expensive. And you just load up. I'll take 3 orders of mini bagels. That only gets you 6. That's what college football felt like. It was this awesome thing on the menu, and it was back, and I couldn't wait to dive into it and take a bite of it. And I looked around, it was gone. 3 weeks, it was over. Finally, week 4 hit, and we had some amazing upsets, including Kansas State knock off Oklahoma.
Mutual Insurance Company presents.
And LSU lose.
And Doug.
Okay, class, let's bump it up to 9.
Come on, Limu, keep pedaling. We got to build our endurance to let more people know that Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance, so you only pay for what you need.
Pick up the pace, bird legs.
Hey, don't talk to Limu like that.
I'm not, I'm talking to you.
Liberty, 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 liberty. Get a customized quote at libertymutual.com.
Hi, this is Jay Farner, CEO of Rocket Mortgage. Making the right financial decisions has never been more important. We can help guide you to those right decisions now when they matter most. Mortgage rates are near historic lows. So when you call 8338-ROCKET or visit us at rocketmortgage.com to start your refinance, you'll be well on your way to saving money every month. The rate today on our 30-year fixed rate mortgage is 3.375%, APR 3.59%. Right now could be a great time for you to take some positive financial steps forward with a cash-out refinance from Rocket Mortgage, which could give you the boost that you're looking for. In addition, we may be able to help you refinance with little or no out-of-pocket costs. At Rocket Mortgage, we're committed to every client, every time, no exceptions, no excuses, giving you the best mortgage experience. Call us today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Rates subject to change. Pay 1.875% fee to receive this discounted rate. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
What do you get when you talk to a Dell Technologies advisor? You get someone who understands there's an art to listening, who's able to hear more than what's being said, and can provide tailored small business solutions that make you feel truly heard.
I understand. Let's get started.
For advice on everything from laptops to the cloud and solutions powered by Intel vPro platform, call an advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL.
Do you think all vitamin C's are the same? They're not. Ester C is a superior form of vitamin C. It's the only vitamin C with 24-hour immune support. And it lasts up to 2 times longer than regular vitamin C. So don't just settle for any vitamin C. Buy Ester C and support your immune health today. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Third floor study hall.
My dining room table. Homeroom Monday and Tuesday. My living room Wednesday to Friday.
Wherever school happens for you this year, Staples has amazing prices on everything your student needs. This week, get 20% off copies and prints for school. That's 20% off posters, worksheets, schedules, and reports. Shop in-store or pick up curbside. School on, save on. Staples. Visit staples.com/school printing for coupon. In-store only. Exclusions apply. Ends 10/31. Curbside available in most stores.
Don't forget, you still have Mitch from Jersey.
Oh, yeah.
Here's Eitan Shander.
NFL tonight. Last night was exceptional football. Came down to the difference between Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees and what the Packers are doing right now. It's been outstanding television. First 3 weeks of the season are capped off tonight with Kansas City, Baltimore. Probably the most anticipated primetime game we've had since the return Thursday night, in which the NFL opened up with the Chiefs and the Texans. And I should mention Houston, because as great of a story as Nick Foles was yesterday, stepping off the bench, he's got to be the best pinch hitter of all time, right? Is there anybody that comes to mind? Baseball, we brought this up one day about baseball and the best pinch hitter, and I couldn't even tell you who comes to mind. There are so many different names that spent a cup of coffee here or there. But as far as just stepping into a situation, yeah, Tom Brady comes to mind after what he did with Drew Bledsoe.
But no, but he wasn't really a pinch hitter.
No, he was just.
I know what you're saying. You're saying somebody who steps in, competes well. Maybe he goes back away, comes back again, goes away, comes back again. I mean,
okay, could you equate what Nick Foles? I think we can equate what Nick Foles did with a pinch hitter in baseball. Yeah. Can you equate what Nick Foles did with like a 6th or 7th man in the NBA? Somebody who comes, like maybe a 7th man, somebody who plays quality minutes, doesn't start, probably should start, but for whatever reason is just always, there's a new shiny toy that comes to town.
The team is stacked in that, but like any other team, he would be a starter. Because we did that with Nick Foles before, remember? The first time with Philly.
Right.
He went, he go to St. Louis?
Well, yeah, and it was a train wreck.
It was a train wreck, but we were like, any other team, he'd be a starter for that team.
Any other team, exactly. And we probably thought that there were a couple of teams, at least in the NFL, now where he would be starting outside of Chicago, including Chicago, mind you. So he steps in, throws 3 touchdowns. Allen Robinson III looks like he's happy right now.
Yep.
And the Bears are 3-0.
I don't know how you go back.
You can't.
Yeah.
This was it. This was the last straw for Trubisky. It's not like, here's the thing. You can't bench Carson Wentz. You can't. I know they drafted Jalen Hurts in the 2nd round. They have a ton of money wrapped up in Carson Wentz. They don't have that responsibility in Chicago. They don't owe Mitchell Trubisky anything. Get rid of that guy as fast as possible. If you're a coach, a general, you might even save your job. Think about it. Is anybody going to get fired if they go 9-7, 10-6 because Nick Foles is now the quarterback? Is somebody going to step down from ownership and say, we really wanted to see this thing happen with Trubisky. It didn't. You couldn't make it work. You're out. No, that's not how it works. You can't go back. You're right, Ron. You cannot go back. You can't even go back if Nick Foles has a bad quarter or half. Hey, the Bears could lose a game next week and you still can't go back unless Nick Foles is utterly horrendous and throws 3 interceptions and is the fundamental reason why you lose a football game. You can't do it. You have to stick it out. You have to. The Washington football team at 1-2, Ron Rivera came out and said, no, I'm sticking with Dwayne Haskins. You can't be the first team in your division to bench a quarterback if you're in Philadelphia. So from somebody who's in this city, let me just tell you, that's not going to happen. The Eagles will not be the first team in the NFC East to bench their quarterback. It will either be the Giants, which I don't see happening because, again, you've got a young QB who needs to take his growing pains, or it's Washington who might try and salvage something with Alex Smith. But I doubt that's going to happen as well. So I don't even know how that even comes into the conversation outside of frustration. But the Bears were insane yesterday, putting up those 20 points and dominating that fourth quarter behind Nick Foles, of all people. Elsewhere, and we touched on this a little bit, but there were two big wins for two other teams, Buffalo and New England. You want to look at the AFC East, Buffalo and New England neck and neck right now.
I admitted it this morning, and I'll admit it on your show as well. I think I'm a Josh Allen apologist.
Oh, yeah, I am as well. No, you're right.
I'm sorry for doubting you.
Is it too early, though?
I don't know. I mean, what he's done the last 3 weeks. I mean, albeit, against the Jets and the Dolphins, we're like, okay, yeah, you should have career games. He did that against the Rams.
Yeah, it was impressive.
Maybe, maybe there was a little Saint payback with the pass interference call. I don't know. But the fact of the matter is, he did that against the Rams.
And that's impressive because the Rams defense is tough to do that against.
Yeah,
it's just a tough defense.
Aaron Donald, I almost apologize for Aaron Donald too, because last year I kind of wrote him off. Like, you know what? He's kind of regressing already. And then this season, he's just.
He's been an animal. No, I think you're right, though. A lot of people questioned whether or not you would see Josh Allen be able to make throws consistently. You would be able to see him utilize. Like, think about it. When Stephon Diggs, it's news that Stephon Diggs is now a member of the Buffalo Bills. What was my first thought was, how the hell is Josh Allen going to get him the football? Like, that was the first and really only thing I thought was, oh, man, this seems like a waste. It seems like a waste of somebody's talent in Diggs that you're bringing him over to go deep down the field with a quarterback who struggles to throw the ball 15 yards. Well, wrong. As you said, apologies. I need to apologize like you do to Josh Allen. And I think a lot of us were wrong about Josh Allen. And you know what? For 3 straight weeks, he's proven us wrong. I can't see him falling off. He would have to play like Carson Wentz. Imagine that. Like, what would it take for Josh Allen to play so poorly where all of a sudden 3 or 4 weeks, because we'd have to give it a little time. We can't just do it after next week. He's earned a little bit of cred here with 3 straight weeks of solid play. But what would it take for us to have to turn around and rescind our apology, say, no, it was all wrong. We were right on Josh Allen. We were wrong when we thought we were wrong on Allen. He would have to look like Carson Wentz. He would have to drop back and physically be unable to complete a 5-yard pass to a running back. He would have to be able to go from consistently throwing the football now well down the field, something we didn't think he could do, to missing guys wide open on screen plays, just 5 yards over their head with not a defender, not a soul around him. Josh Allen would have to turn into Carson Wentz in order for us to come back and rescind any apology that right now Allen rightfully is owed. That's how bad it would have to look. He would have to turn into a quarterback who simply looks like they've forgotten how to play this game. And I can't see Josh Allen doing that, mainly because of, think about the momentum you have. You were up big. You're up big over the Rams. And now the Rams, because they have that capability, start to come back, start to put up points on the board. You look around thinking, are we really going to lose this game at home to the Rams? And not the Rams like the Rams, meaning a bad team, but like, come on, we were up big time over this football team. And you start to see 28-3, you start to see that lead go. And all of a sudden you look up, and if you don't score this final touchdown, if you don't march down the field and score this last touchdown, you lose the game. And Josh Allen led his team down the field. Got a lot of help from Darrell Henderson, but that's what they do. They run when they can. They don't abort. They don't move away from anything. They run when they can. A crazy moment if you look at how they overcame this Rams momentum, which, as we've seen in Philadelphia and other teams have as well, that Dallas, you start to steamroll and really snowball, I guess would be the better way. A lot of momentum for that offense, and they're just going to be moving the ball down until the clock runs out. And that's exactly what happened. The Rams were in a position where if they got the ball back, they probably would have scored 20 or 30 more seconds on the clock. They probably would have got a field goal, the way in which they were moving the ball. And Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, that was a huge statement, a very big statement. Ryan Tannehill eking one out against the Vikings on the road, despite a monster day by Dalvin Cook and Justin Jefferson, rookie, now stepping in, playing really well. That wasn't as, if you look at what the Titans were expected to do and what Ryan Tannehill did, which basically didn't lose the game. There's the difference. Ryan Tannehill was more along for the ride than a person or a player of influence. Josh Allen turned into that. It was really cool and fun to watch him scamper around the field last year, making up for the fact that he could not complete a pass 15 yards down the field. Now it's dangerous. When you add the ability to complete those passes consistently, mind you, and his abilities to move on the floor, now you've got a dangerous scenario here. You have to run him in a stack every week. I mean, you have to. He and Russell Wilson, I feel like, are mandatory stacks every week. You have to run the Bills, and you can decide who else you want to throw in that stack, and you have to run a Wilson, Lockett, Metcalf stack. Good news is that their defense in Seattle is so bad that somebody on the other end is going to go big time, and we saw that even in Dallas. Now, the one team we did not mention as far as one of the most disappointing teams, we threw out Atlanta, Minnesota, and Philadelphia. I still can't bring myself to admit, and I don't think that I'm wrong here, but just come to grips with or admit or be pushed over on the other side, that the Texans are one of the top 3 most disappointing teams in the NFL. And I think a lot of that has to do with who they've played so far. Now, granted, the Steelers was their easiest game. The 2-0 Steelers, who clearly look different now and healthy now and are better than what they were last year with an addition of a quarterback. That was their easiest game. That was their most winnable game. Cal on Twitch through the account here, Shander Show, twitch.tv/Shander Show, that Josh Allen hurdled 2 years ago was insane. Isn't it amazing now to see him be able to put together his prowess on the ground with making throws? And Josh Allen will be, that was something that was keeping him back. Can't throw the football, can't throw it well, can't throw it deep, can't throw it consistently. Well, you do all that now, all of a sudden you've got a pretty good quarterback, one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. Deshaun Watson is still that, mind you. We were talking about Josh Allen, but Watson is still that. It's going up against 2 straight buzzsaws. At 0-3, would it really shock you? Truly shock? That division is not good besides Tennessee. Would it really shock you right now if the Texans flipped this thing, turned around, and finished 8-8 and made the playoffs as a back end, as that third wild card, something that is very realistic with an 8-8 record? It's not as difficult as you may think when you start to look down their schedule. I don't know what Chicago is going to be 4 weeks out of the end of the season. I know what the Colts, Bengals, Lions, and Browns are going to be. I know what the Jaguars are going to be. Team they have to play twice still. I am more confident if you look at 4 teams right now that are just tail spinning away. The most confident I'm in, as crazy as this sounds, is Houston. It's not Atlanta to turn anything around with that defense. It's not Minnesota, who's got defensive issues as well and can't afford for Kirk Cousins to have a bad day. And it is definitely not Philadelphia. As bad as that division is, they lost to Washington already and tied with the Bengals. It's Houston, based on their schedule. They were victims of circumstance more so than anything else, and they will benefit off of that same circumstance. Just give it some time. Fake news with Ron and John coming up next on The Second Level.
Pushing the Odds with Matt Peralt.
All right, I'll be right back.
Taking a victory lap and then listing the number of states that are going to play college football, you are being so transparent and you are exposing all of your minions in the media who have talked about get politics out of sports. I'm watching sports for a distraction. You're fine with the president doing this. You're not going to hear from them at all about the president getting involved in this topic. So that idea of separating sports, I don't want to hear it. They want it out when it's against them. And so the line between sports and politics is gone. I don't ever want to hear another thing about Black Lives Matter or a guy kneeling in the end zone that distracts you or whatnot, because that is gone. It's no longer a conversation. If you don't like that, okay, I'm sorry, but that's reality.
Pushing the Odds with Matt Peralt. Weekday afternoons from 1 to 4 Eastern.
Wake up call. If you're a Patriot fan and you're celebrating Brady's failure, I just don't get it. He gave you success as an NFL fan you don't really deserve. You don't deserve 20 years of excellence.
He gave you 2 decades of a dynasty. That's better than anything the NFL has ever produced.
In 20 years of going to the Super Bowls, and let this guy enjoy semi-retirement down in Florida.
Because that's what you do in New England, right? You go down to Florida to retire.
Wake up call with Tony D and Ron Culver. Weekday mornings from 7 to 9 Eastern.
Wake up call. This is one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life. It was so great to see Vin Scully get on Twitter. And when he said just a bunch of friends, I was warmed. I was like, he thinks we're friends.
Yes, I felt the same way.
If I engage in him, we're friends. Vin Scully is fantastic.
Listen, Vin Scully just taking to social media, recording a video for a few minutes, talking about baseball, talking about whatever it might be. I'm all in.
I want to hear him do whatever he wants to do.
I want to hear him talk about dirt, talk about fish, talk about the number 13. I couldn't hit the follow button fast enough.
I know. I couldn't either. I mean, it was so great. The broadcaster I grew up loving was Johnny Most of the Celtics. He was the play-by-play voice of the Celtics. But when you listen to Johnny Most, it was like listening to a guy gargling razor blades after smoking 4 cigars and drinking some scotch. Whereas Scully was like honey dripping down. It was like this voice from heaven.
Wake up call with Tony D and Ron Culver. Weekday mornings from 7 to 9 Eastern.
The Jake Asman Show.
Many times in my life, I've had to share a hotel room with somebody else. My plan of selecting which bed depends on proximity to the air conditioning vent and proximity to the most outlets. You know, I have a lot of things that need to be charged. I need to plug in my fan. I need to charge my phone. I have an Apple Watch. I have a Mophie phone charger case. I need outlets galore, and a lot of it depends on where the bed is located in the hotel room.
The Jake Asman Show. Weekday mornings from 9.
John is ready.
So, can I ask you a question?
Fake news with Ron. With all the fake news out there,
Don't believe those lies.
it's on Shander to give it to you straight. 3 stories, but only one is fake.
It's true. I know it's a weird thought, but it's true.
Can Shander spot the fraud? Here's Ron Culver.
All right, Eitan, you said it earlier, but now we bring on the former undisputed fake news haver. What are we calling it?
Expert. He's already lost his title after
But
one.
you know what? He'll gain it back this week.
Doug
And
Peterson, not
he'll
even
go
under
on
as much scrutiny as John McMullen.
Ooh, I don't know about that one.
Well, let's see. Let's see how he does.
I think there's plenty of scrutiny. Like there'll never be more scrutiny.
Well,
than
John, to be fair,
Peterson
John's
getting.
part of the scrutiny when it comes to Doug.
That's
so
true. That's true.
he has to recuse
That was-
himself.
Did he?
I'm kind of like Doug now with all this scrutiny. Now I'm starting to.
Now you know how it
think about
feels,
things.
right? Leave the guy alone, will you? Now
Well,
you know
that's
how
why.
it
I mean,
feels.
you know, well, you'll get that. You'll gain that perspective and have a better understanding of Eagles fan and coaching staff. Now, John, did you also believe that Doug Peterson didn't know that their games could end in a tie?
No,
according to Eitan.
Yeah, Eitan
Just-
got some people on that.
Just wanted to make sure, right? Got to clear the air there.
Yeah, who got that? Like, how is somebody a fan of this football team for more than 12 years or at all? Like, I don't know. That in its own was really difficult for me to
I
believe.
will always love you. Will
Thank
always
you.
love
Thank you. All right, here we go.
All right, story number 1. The artist who created Comedian. That art piece that it was a banana duct taped to a wall. He has made nearly $500,000 off doing 3 of those art pieces.
Now, I randomly saw a tweet that said, I think Barstool had it, that it was sold to the Guggenheim.
No, it was lent to the Guggenheim.
Lent to the Guggenheim.
Yeah. One of the guys who bought it paid like $100 and some odd $1,000 for it and then ate the banana.
So what are we saying now? The guy who did the banana on the wall is
The artist, the artist who created that art piece.
I'm going to call him a guy, but go ahead.
Has made nearly $500,000 off of 3 of those artworks, and I'm doing quotation marks, if you will. Art pieces.
Well, I know we made some ridiculous amount of over the banana. So we're saying on top of that, 3 other ones. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
On 3 of them, he has made nearly $500,000. He's at 49.
Yeah. All right. God bless him, I guess.
Story number 2. Yeah. We all know limited fans are allowed in the stadium, but one team, the Denver Broncos, found a way to get the entire cast from a local TV show into the stadium to watch the game live.
Was this the
I know it's true.
Okay, so
That
story
one I know
one.
is completely true.
Look at this. We know story 1. At least I saw the tweet, and now you know story 2 is true. So that would lead me to believe that no matter what comes out of Ron's mouth for story 3, that would be fake, right?
Yeah.
So we know
I don't know.
We know story 2 is true.
That's what John said.
South Park was there. The entire town of South Park was there in cardboard cutout form.
See? Now, I saw yesterday on the Eagles game,
Which is awesome, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
Well, yeah, and isn't this ahead of the premiere? Don't they have like a full hour premiere coming up?
Don't they always?
I believe, yeah.
Wow.
Wednesday.
I think they do every
Look at that. John McMullen is on the moment in which South Park premieres this season. I didn't peg you
I'm a
it.
big South Park
Look at
guy,
that.
so
That's
you're
good to know.
not gonna throw that fastball by me.
Ron Scherzel tried.
I tried.
All right,
That's
well-
why I wasn't mentioning the name. I was at a local TV show, and he picked up on it right away.
That's great.
Jumped all over it. Story number 3. John Gruden decided to wear women's underwear for a face mask this past weekend as a silent protest to the NFL's mask policy.
That can't be true.
That can't be true.
Come on.
Photos?
That would have to be. I mean, if that were true, that would be viral upon viral. Are you kidding me?
You should see the photos.
Okay, but
Well, it might look like women's underwear.
that's what I was going to say. Right?
Yeah, but I mean, the fact that has it been confirmed? I guess the question is, has it been confirmed that it's women's underwear?
And what type?
can't
I mean, there are
imagine
multiple.
John Gruden would do that.
Right. It could be a
Yeah, I can't
bikini
imagine.
bottom. It could be a thong. It could be like the granny panties. It could be a big thing, whatever.
Yeah, in today's world, that would be such a faux pas. I mean, they would be calling to cancel John Gruden.
That's true.
Saying that's sexist. I can't imagine.
Even if he wore like
He
a
would
little
do
lacy
that.
number.
Yeah, see, I could see that. I could see him wearing something that has been misinterpreted or used to make
Yeah.
fun of him. But I can't
Yeah.
see John Gruden being the catalyst behind this.
I can also see Frank Caliendo making a bit out
Yeah,
of it.
that's true.
That's to come later.
That is true.
All right, so what
Yeah, it's
story
got to
is
be
fake?
3. It's got to be
Is it-
3.
Is it the comedian, the live TV show, or John Gruden's face mask protest?
It's got to be. Unless you've altered story 1 to some
Of
small
course.
detail.
Of course, it's John Gruden, but I implore both of you guys to look. Just you can Google some images, John Gruden face mask, and it's not that it does look like he's wearing a woman's thong.
Yes, but it also looks like
Because his I don't know how this happens or why he did it this way. Instead of pulling it down, it's kind of off to the side. It's very bizarre. It's like it's almost.
It looks like.
I was gonna make a joke, but then I'll get in trouble.
Well, here's what it looks like to me. Remember when you were in like 8th grade and it was cool to go out and like cut your sleeves off of t-shirts, and you can, this is back when you couldn't buy sleeveless tees now that's all the rave. and you would buy it, and then every now and again somebody would use the cut off sleeve as like a headband, and it would just look awful because it wasn't cut on like a level, and it was just all over the place.
It doesn't matter if you got 2 tickets to the gun show, Tom. It doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, I don't know what ticket John Gruden has with this thing, but yeah, it didn't matter at that point. If you had ridges and it was all over the place like an uneven cut, this looks like somebody unevenly cut off sleeves, and he had to wear it like a mask.
Well, I think Ron felt bad that he ended my streak, and he gave me an easy, sharp single to left.
No, actually, I just did that so we can talk about John Gruden's face mask issues, because he might get fined again for wearing half a mask on his face.
He should be fined for wearing a sleeve on his face. Didn't even look. It looked more like a sleeve than a thong.
In some photos and some angles, it does look like an eye patch.
This is terrible. All right, I have a question for John regarding these masks coming up. We'll also talk about the big day that was week 3 in the National Football League.
This is Phil Snyder here to tell you about one of my favorite sports books, and that's BetUS. Football, basketball, and baseball are all back, and that means it's time to get down your bets. I only tell you about the best, and BetUS.com is the best. Why, you ask? BetUS is the pioneer in online betting with more than 25 years in the biz. You need a sports book with integrity and longevity, and you need to know that you're going to get paid. You need a sports book that offers everything, including live betting, MMA, golf, horses, esports, and all kinds of crazy bets. Call today at 1-800-MY-BET-US. That's 1-800-MY-BET-US, and they'll walk you through getting started. Nobody in the industry gives bigger bonuses than BetUS. Join now. Mention Sports Map Radio, and you can get up to 150% in bonuses on your first deposit. Nobody beats that. 25 years in the biz, the best bonuses. BetUS should be your sports book. Join today. Call 1-800-MY-BET-US or go to BetUS.com. Remember, mention Sports Map Radio to get your bonus.
This is time that matters. A window of time to help protect the ones you love. Your preteen benefits from staying up to date with their well visits. This is your window of protection. Schedule their well visit now. Brought to you by Merck.
Every 2 minutes, a woman in the U.S. is diagnosed with breast cancer. And in that moment in time, her life changes forever. We're fighting alongside patients because we know one moment can change a lifetime.
Hi, this is Jay Farner, CEO of Rocket Mortgage. Making the right financial decisions has never been more important. We can help guide you to those right decisions now when they matter most. Mortgage rates are near historic lows, so when you call 8338-ROCKET or visit us at rocketmortgage.com to start your refinance, you'll be well on your way to saving money every month. The rate today on our 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 3.375%, APR 3.59%. Right now could be a great time for you to take some positive financial steps forward with a cash-out refinance from Rocket Mortgage, which could give you the boost that you're looking for. In addition, we may be able to help you refinance with little or no out-of-pocket costs. At Rocket Mortgage, we're committed to every client, every time, no exceptions, no excuses, giving you the best mortgage experience. Call us today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Rates subject to change. Pay 1.875% fee to receive this discounted rate. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Here's Howie Long for Skechers Arch Fit Shoes.
If you've never tried Arch Fit shoes from Skechers, you're missing out on next level comfort. Saying you like comfort but not trying Arch Fit is like saying you like Italian food but you've never tried pasta. Skechers teamed up with podiatrists who used over 20 years of data to create a shoe that provides total foot and arch support for all-day comfort. Arch Fit distributes support across the arch no matter what foot type you have. You don't need an arch problem to love how they feel.
See all the styles of machine washable Arch Fit shoes now at Skechers.com.
You're listening to The Second Level on the Sports Map Radio Network.
Presented by Rocket Mortgage. Home loans that fit your life. Rocket can.
From the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios, with way more than the scores, here's Eitan Shander.
A lot to look at from over the weekend. A busy week 3 in the NFL. Our NFL insider, John McMullen, at JF McMullen, courtesy of Jacob Media, hanging with us. We both nailed fake news like it was nothing. As far as what happened yesterday, let's start with a pretty big topic of conversation on this show, as you can imagine. when we opened things up an hour and 40 minutes ago. And let's just fast forward to overtime with one final play. And I did hear Doug Peterson live this morning on a local radio station in Philadelphia admit that he should have done things differently. But just kind of take us through the bigger picture, John, of what's fundamentally wrong with this Philadelphia Eagles team and boil it down to maybe the microcosm that was conceding a punt and a tie to end the game against the Bengals.
Yeah, I mean, people aren't going to want to hear this because they're going to say excuse. I think it's more of an explanation. I mean, the injuries have again taken hold. And when you talk about what they were down, they lose to Sean Jackson, Dallas Goedert in the game. Jalen Reagor was already out. We know Alshon Jeffrey's not back. So that's the receiver / tight ends. The offensive line is down 60% of what it was supposed to be. So I don't know too many teams that would lose that many players and look good. When the Eagles tied the game, I mean, receivers on the field were Greg Ward, John Hightower, and Deontay Burnett. So, I mean, that's what you're down to. So you're not going to look very good. But all that said, I mean, bottom line is because of the way the schedule has broken for them, and it was Washington week 1, Cincinnati week 3, if the quarterback is even competent, and by competent, I mean just don't give the ball away, the Eagles are 2-1 in the worst division in football and in first place. As it stands, they tie a game and they pick up ground on the rest of that horrible division. So that kind of tells you where the NFC East is. But yeah, I mean, if you lose that many players, you're not going to look good. That's pretty much every team.
Well, except for the 49ers. And granted, they went up against the Giants, and hopefully 2 games against the Giants will be just right for the Philadelphia Eagles. What is it about the Niners that is either an anomaly or maybe puts a little more pressure on a team like the Eagles to get something done if, in fact, they do lose a bunch of guys?
No, I think you just hit the nail on the head. It was the New York Giants. I just talked about the NFC East. I mean, typically, if you're facing a good team, and you'll see it, you'll see the attrition in San Francisco, and more so than Jimmy Garoppolo, even when you talk about the defensive line. That's what got him to the Super Bowl last season, and that was Nick Bosa. And they lose him to a torn ACL, which is just a devastating injury, but also Solomon Thomas. And they have so many more injuries on top of that. I mean, you don't get to play the New York Giants every week. And you look at that division as a whole. Arizona, even though they were disappointing, is much improved. And then you talk about Seattle and you talk about the LA Rams. San Francisco is not going anywhere unless they get people healthy.
Fair enough, and especially when you look at it in comparison to the division. John, I am curious to get your thoughts on this. I don't know if there's a bigger surprise, and I don't mean to use this. Sometimes it can connote like a negative to a positive, but I don't mean to diminish or belittle anything he's done this year. In fact, I think it adds to how refreshing of a surprise it is. But as great as Russell Wilson is playing, as lights out as Aaron Rodgers is playing, there can't be a bigger surprise in the NFL than how well and consistent Josh Allen is playing.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question. That was the biggest concern, I think, with everybody, including myself, with Buffalo. And I think people jumped the gun on assuming they were going to win the AFC East just because Tom Brady left New England. And I still think it's a little bit too early. But certainly Stephon Diggs has obviously helped. But, Stephon Diggs isn't going to help accuracy. I mean, he's going to be open. He's always open. You got to get him the football, though. So, scouts I constantly talk to say that all the time. You can't really teach accuracy, and that was the big red flag with Josh Allen, the fact that he wasn't accurate coming into the NFL, and it very rarely improves to a level where it's going to make a difference. So short sample size, but yeah, I agree with you. He has been one of the feel-good stories, and he certainly looks like he's turned the corner. But I think you bring up Aaron Rodgers last night. I tweeted this morning, Eitan. If there's going to be no fans or very few fans in every stadium this year, the Packers are winning the Super Bowl. I mean, it's just unfair that guy. You see what he does in Green Bay with the hard counts, and he gets 2 or 3 offsides every game, and he saves them for big spots. Now he can do that on the road, and he did it again last night. And it's just so hard to play against that team. And if you don't have silent counts on the road, man, they're going to be tough to deal with because he's on a different level. You talk about Russell Wilson. I know everybody's on the Russell Wilson for MVP train. MVP of this league with no fans, it's going to be Aaron Rodgers.
Well, on the flip side, it seems as if, and granted, people talk about Philadelphia as much as you want till the cows come home. That's fine. But I know for a fact that they're not nearly as big of a home field advantage as what we've seen in New Orleans and maybe Seattle to a lesser extent. But to your point about Aaron Rodgers being on a tear everywhere he goes, I would assume that the same works in reverse for the Saints, which is they lost a huge advantage this year.
Oh, yeah. And Minnesota. Minnesota's turned out to be a bad team. But you think about it. If you talk about the 5 loudest environments, you just hit on 2 of them. Minnesota's a third of the top 5. Green Bay was there week 1. I think they put up 42. I think he had 2 or 3 of those, drawing them off sides. And then you saw it again with the Saints. I mean, it doesn't get tougher than those 2 environments when fans are there and how loud it is. And at the bare minimum, not saying Green Bay can't win those games because they're a good team anyway, but you do have the silent counts. You do have the noise where you're not going to be able to do that. And it's just one of those things about 2020 COVID world that I don't think a lot of people were expecting. And the NFL is already trying to give some of these teams back a little bit of a home field advantage by agreeing to up the decibel level. And I think you're going to see that throughout the season. Everything's done on the fly, but it's just not the same. And you don't have these home field advantages, and it's drastically altering the landscape. But everybody's dealing with it. So that's what the NFL kind of defaults on, and everybody's got the same issues. But those teams with big home field advantages, they don't have them anymore.
John McMullen at JF McMullen on Twitter on NFL Insider, courtesy of Jacob Media. I'm going to ride this train until they're physically eliminated from the playoffs because I don't see the Houston Texans finishing 6-10, 5-11, even 7-9. They were clearly victim of the toughest first 3 games that anybody has played this year. And granted, 0-3 is their record, John. I'm not trying to make any excuses. I sure as hell won't for Bill O'Brien. They just seem like they have enough talent to pull out of this tailspin. Like, I don't feel confident about the Vikings at 0-3 or the Falcons at 0-3 or the Eagles at 0-2-1 to do that so much as I do with Houston.
No, it probably has to do with the quarterback, and I think you'll see it. I think they have the Vikings this week at home, so they'll win that game and go to 1-3, and maybe that starts. I think the biggest concern is their division, and that's where the Eagles have an advantage because they play in a bad division. And I mentioned it with San Francisco, plays in a good division. Houston, maybe not as good as the NFC West, but Tennessee's a solid team. Indianapolis is taking care of business, at least against bad teams. So you really have only Jacksonville as sort of a gimme in that division. So I think that creates a bigger concern than anything else. But yeah, if you look at the 0-3 teams, the winless teams, and there's a lot of them, I think Houston would be at the top of that group. But, you know, that's the tallest short guy at the circus. So
Fair enough.
I don't know how much that means.
Not much. Let's flip it. At 3-0, how do you go back to Mitchell Trubisky right now in Chicago?
More so than that, in an existential sense, how do you have a quarterback controversy and you're 3-0? That's how bad Mitchell Trubisky is.
Yes, perfect way to put it.
I mean, yeah, it's absurd, and then on top, I mean, we know Nick Foles. There's never been a stranger career in the history of the NFL. The highs are so high, the lows are so low. They'll get back to Mitchell Trubisky, but, you know, that's when Nick gets hurt and comes off the rails. Bottom line is neither of those guys are capable of starting 16 games. And you talk about, Houston as an 0-3 team versus Chicago as a 3-0 team. I'd rather be Houston from a talent perspective, but hey, give Matt Nagy credit. He finds a way to win these games.
It's definitely insane right now. And you're right. I think somebody's job clearly on the line like 3 or 4 times over. And to have a quarterback controversy on the verge of going 4-0 is not something that we see. All right, so let me ask you one more, and then I want to circle back with the Eagles looking into week 4. But you mentioned how bad that division is. Clearly, the Cowboys are going to be able to score on everybody, but I don't think they can stop anyone. What do you make of Dallas, what they were able to do, how close it got at one point with Seattle, and kind of their immediate future moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's clearly the best team in the division. That is, by no means is that a terrible loss against that team and that environment. And the fact that they're able to be in a shootout against Russell Wilson, who's playing at such a high level. There are far worse teams and far worse losses. But it does come down to the fact that they have to figure out how to stop somebody on the defensive side of the football. The good news for the Cowboys is that division again. I mean, if they can just figure it out as they go, and obviously I'm not even talking about a top 10 defense. If they can just turn into a middle of the road defense, well, they're going to win that division. And once you get into the playoffs, hopefully you're playing hot at the right time of the year, and maybe you can do something. I think that has to be how the Cowboys approach this.
All right, last one for you, John. Eagles are a 6-point road favorite heading into San Francisco. We talked about both teams, from the Eagles' struggles to who's actually healthy for the Niners. It's early right now on Monday. Where would you side on that line?
That's so difficult because both teams are so banged up. I mean, ultimately, just the history and being around this team on a daily basis for so long, this is when the Eagles tend to do things you don't expect them to do. I expect Doug Peterson to, and he talked about it today, he's going to go up tempo. That's what Carson Wentz does well. They scaled it back. He compared it to the end of last season. They have so many injuries. It's going to be the Greg Ward types. But they do have Miles Sanders. And I just said, San Francisco is going to be coming off this high of beating a really bad football team with a backup quarterback. And I think the backup quarterback pumpkin is coming this week. But that's my Monday thoughts.
All right, well, we'll get your Thursday thoughts. See if anything changes then. John, thanks, man. Enjoy the week.
All right, thanks, Eitan.
John McMullen at JF McMullen, our NFL insider on the Progressive Guest Line. We wrap the hour next on the second level.
The second level.
I saw this come out that the ACC will propose that every single team in Division I will make the 2021 NCAA tournament. Let's be honest with ourselves. There's only one name who's really running the show here, Mike Krzyzewski. It ain't our buddy in UNC right now. It's not Big Roy down there. Even the history that's there with Syracuse. There are some coaches that you would point to, by all means. The person right there at the top of that tree, right when you walk in, and you always see that in like the crime show where they have all the names up there, and it always leads up to the top person, the boss. The boss behind this has got to be Mike Krzyzewski. He's the godfather. Maybe that's a better way to put it, right? At the very least, Don Krzyzewski gave his blessing.
The second level with Eitan Shander, weekdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern.
Coast to coast. Why should some teams be allowed to have fans and other teams can't have any? You talk about a disadvantage. I mean, it's that simple. Plus, who wants to go to a Dolphin game anyway? They suck. They're not going to play Tua. They're going to suck anyway like they always do. So who wants to go to a Dolphin game? Joe Ranieri knows they suck too. I wouldn't bet on him if it hit me in the head.
Pharrell Coast to Coast with Scott Farrell. Weekdays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern.
Pushing the odds with Matt Perrault.
Talking to Anthony Tolliver of the Memphis Grizzlies here on Pushing the Odds. You were quoted by the Commercial Appeal as saying, we have to actually stand up, talk about, and be and do whatever we can to affect the change that we want to see. Is that what the Bucks did? To do anything that they can do to affect change?
Absolutely. We are athletes. We are entertainers. We are basketball players. But before all of that, we are men. The NBA is comprised of 80% black. There's a reason why the NBA is leading the charge in a lot of these things is because we are 80%. People who seems to be on all these news channels keep getting shot or hurt. They look like me. They look like LeBron James. They look like Steph Curry. They look like us. So we are like, well, what can we do to, to spark conversation to help this to stop happening as much as we can?
Pushing the Odds with Matt Peralt, weekday afternoons from 1 to 4 Eastern.
Are you thinking that it's time to start looking for a new car? Then go to automotivemap.com to see the latest auto news, find out about what's ahead for your favorite brands, and learn how much that new car will cost you. Automotivemap.com is your place to see reviews, check out the hottest exotic cars, read tales from the road, and get acquainted with the luxury automotive lifestyle. Into hot mods? Want to see the cars celebrities drive? Love a good restoration job? From off-roading to on-roading, automotivemap.com has it covered. Visit automotivemap.com today.
Dealing with the root of the issues. It's the second level on the SportsMap Radio Network.
Presented by Rocket Mortgage.
Live from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios. Here's Eitan Shander.
All right, is there anything that we missed? Is there anything that we should hit on? We touched on all four sports. Technically, we didn't touch on Major League Baseball because I don't want to talk about my team about to see the best catcher in baseball walk. And I don't know. As little as we've been involved in the Stanley Cup Finals, I can't imagine that I'd be more involved in Major League Baseball's small little perverted playoffs here. Perversion of a playoffs. No, I won't be. I won't watch.
You will be. You will be.
I will bet you money.
No, you won't.
I would put a camera up. All right. I'll pay for somebody to follow me with a camera, like Big Brother. I'll put cameras up everywhere in my house.
Now you know you're not going to tune in.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I know for a fact I wouldn't tune in.
Yeah, but I mean, if you have someone follow, then you're purposely going to go out of your way not to do that.
Well, it's just to confirm,
You might
if
just
anything.
fall into it. It's a random Thursday. There's nothing, or not a Thursday. Let's go Tuesday. A random Tuesday, no games on. You mean to tell me you're like, I'm not going to watch baseball?
I'd rather watch a presidential debate than baseball.
Well, you might get those too.
I can't believe. Honestly, there are about 50 other things I'd rather watch than. I don't have any interest in the postseason with baseball because it's so regionalized and the storylines are so local to each team, which is not a bad thing. It just I don't get in there. The Stanley Cup Final, I'll watch. Okay, admittedly, I'll try and watch some tonight. But come on, how much? Like, what are we supposed to do tonight? What are you supposed to do? Not watch Monday Night Football? You've got the two best teams in the NFL going at it. You've got two of the best quarterbacks going at it as well. You've got the defending champions going up against the team that everybody has pegged as the only team that can knock them off.
No, you better be watching Monday Night Football tonight.
Seriously.
There's literally nothing else on TV tonight.
I would feel guilty watching anything else besides the NFL tonight. Truly guilty.
You should.
It's not even because I have a couple of bets. You have to pound the over, right? Pound that over tonight. 55.5. A lot of points to be scored, Culver.
I know, but this is one of those games where that doesn't happen.
I was going to throw something in there, but I didn't have enough time.
Yeah, but doesn't it feel like,